welcome back, everybody. Thank you all for coming out again, as always. We got another session that I hope is very enjoyable for you guys. We're going to be starting off, as usual, with our news roundup. Afterwards, we're going to be following up with a segment dedicated to teach you guys how to secure yourself. Then, after a short break, we'll be joined by Taz from Microsoft, who's going to give us tips on how to get our first job in cybersecurity. So sit back, enjoy. Thank you again for coming out. So Patrick, you want to start us off with the news?
So my first article is about a Russian hacker arrested in India for reportedly helping students cheat in the GE main exam. So a Russian national was apprehended by Indian Central Bureau of Investigation, or the CBI, for attempting to hack into a platform used to administrate engineering admission exams in 2021. The person identified was not made public by law enforcement, but the name Mikhail Sargin was named in Indian press sources. Sargin's role was also discovered, according to the CBI, as part of its investigation into allegedly anomalies in the Joint Entrance Examination, or the GE main. This was held last year. India used the GE as a regular test for admissions for engineering institutions. According to the CIA, the event in 2021 compromised hacking to the ILEAN exam platform in order to allow remote access to a certain user. Other companies would subjectively answer the questions on the pupil's behalf. The CBI stated that Sargin's associates have been charged with manipulating the online examination of GEE and facilitating aspirant students to get admission to top NITs in consideration of a huge amount of solving the questions paper. The application through remote access from a chosen examination center in Sampan. And my second article is about researchers warn of new phishing as a service being used for cybercriminals. Cybercriminals are making use of caffeine, a previously undocumented phishing as a service toolkit, to quickly scale up their attacks and spread harmful payloads. The platform's key features include the ability to design customized phishing kits, control redirected pages, dynamically generate URLs for the payload, and track the success of a campaign. The information was made public a little more than a month after ReSecurity exposed the existence of Evil Proxy, phishing as a service that is promoted for the sale of dark web criminal forms. Nonetheless, the contrast to Evil Proxy, which administrators are said to perform background checks on pre-subscribed customers before activating the subscriptions. Caffeine is an open register procedure, allowing anyone with an email address to sign up for the service. Users are required to register for the account. Caffeine, the threat intelligence company, has launched a phishing campaign to enable the theft of Microsoft 365 credentials through fake sign-up pages hosted on WordPress websites. Our next thing, we'll go next speaker.
How's it going, everybody? So my story is on Toyota. I feel like I'm doing a PSA on household names. So there was some personal information that was potentially exposed after an access key became publicly available on GitHub for 5 years with no one noticing. Toyota T-Connect is an app that they use to have users connect their smartphone to their car, and the source code for that server was published basically on GitHub. Thankfully, Toyota says that no sensitive information like names and credit cards were published at the time, but it's still an issue, obviously, with the company's data. So almost 300,000 customers' information was exposed between December 2017 and 2022, when it was finally restricted just a month ago. Toyota urges all customers who use the app to be vigilant for potential phishing scams that might come in the form of email. Forgetting passwords in code has become a large-scale problem recently. It's usually as a result of developer negligence for the sake of convenience. The preemptive step would be to make sure that they're removed before deployment. GitHub has thankfully begun to scan published code for any secrets and blocking code commits that have authentication keys, but they won't be able to detect anything that is standard access or customized for the company. The next story I have is on a pro-Russian hacktivist group, Killnet. They claimed a large-scale distributed denial of service attack against several U.S. Airports, took down their websites, and basically delayed any kind of traveler usage of the websites. They generated they basically generated large garbage requests to overwhelm the servers and published all the list of all the domains on their Telegram channel. The group and its affiliates have historically targeted countries that sided with Ukraine in the war, and as the war continues, the attacks have been increasingly prevalent in the West. And they've only recently attacked the US, who is sort of the de facto leader of NATO. So they're sort of a relatively new target, but they typically target the EU countries that are a part of NATO. That's it.
Hey everyone. So my first news article here is going to be actually talking about Google. So Google officially rolled out support for passwordless passkeys to both Android and Chrome. Google says that these passkeys are significantly safer replacement for passwords and other phishable authentication factors. They cannot be reused and don't leak in server breaches and protect users from phishing attacks. These passkeys have been established by the FIDO Alliance and are also backed by Apple and Microsoft. Creating a passcode requires information from the end user about the account login, followed by the device passcode. Google also noted that the generated passcodes are securely stored and synced to the cloud by their password manager to prevent lockouts. Does anyone feel passionate about this topic? Yes. Yeah? Do you think it's a good thing?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Anyone else? No? Great, all right. So my next news is going to be from Fortinet. Fortinet revealed that their newly patched critical security vulnerability is being actively exploited in the wild. This vulnerability is tracked as CVE 2022-40684 and has a CVSS score of 9.6. The flaw relates to an authentication bypass in FortiOS, FortiProxy, and FortiSwitch Manager that could allow a remote attacker to perform unauthorized operations on the administrative interface via HTTP requests. Details are set to become publicly available in the coming days, which could enable other threat actors to mount their attacks. Past Fortinet vulnerabilities have remained some of the most exploited vulnerabilities over the years, and it is expected that it will be no different with this exploitation. Anyone work with Fortinet? Yeah, at work? Yeah, anyone else?
I have a question, just seeing as how you're opening the floor to people.
Yeah.
Not really, but what does it mean by exploited in the wild?
I guess it just means that people are actively exploiting this vulnerability. It's like threat actors are actively exploiting it. Yeah, I don't know. I've seen a lot in news things always saying in the wild. I think it's kind of funny, but yeah. That's it for me.
All right, there we go. All right, thank you, Tommy, Patrick, and Singh for delivering the news. Now we're going to be getting into our second segment, and basically the stuff that Google has to worry about and the stuff that you guys will have to worry about, they're very different. So that's why the content team is dedicating this second segment to helping provide you tips and tricks on how to secure yourself. So let me switch to that window and then we can get started. So we're going to be going over a few topics here. So we're going to be covering OSINT and privacy, basically reducing your digital footprint. We're also going to be providing tips on how to secure your network, as well as manage passwords and reduce some of the stress there. And then talk about the various devices that you'll have to secure. So I believe it's Jess. Take it away.
Hey guys, hello. So the first step to securing yourself is to have a sense of what OSINT is.
So all OSINT means is that it just stands for open source intelligence, which basically means that it's any sort of information that can be gathered and is available to the public. So anything that is posted online, anything related to your business and whatnot. And I bring this up because it's usually the first step before you're a victim to an attack. So usually, if you look at like the MITRE ATT&CK framework or the Lockheed Martin cyber kill chain, they usually conduct reconnaissance, which is gathering information before they target their victim. So what can you do to sort of reduce your attack surface? So this image here is just from Varonis. These are basically all the things that that an attacker can do and retrieve in regards to your information. This is mainly like business stuff, not really PII stuff, but that is also included. Now, privacy and digital footprint. So much of the operations for OSINT is kind of out of scope for what we're talking about today. I'm mainly focused on talking about you, okay, yourself, and how you interact with devices. So you want to focus on protecting yourself and minimizing your digital footprint. And we do this by exercising good digital hygiene, okay? So be conscious of what you decide to post online, okay? So any photos, any type of opinions that you may have. Opinions are actually considered to be PII because it helps identify you as a person. So good to keep that in mind. Deactivate unneeded accounts. So if you have Facebook and you're not using it anymore, just deactivate it. Be in control of what you do. So again, be conscious of what you post online, okay, and what websites you go to. And know your rights. So this one's really important because depending on where you are in the world, you're actually subject to different sort of regulations and laws. So for Canada, you're actually subject to PIPEDA, again, which is our privacy law, as opposed to the EU, which they're under GDPR. You kind of don't have as much control over your information as individuals do in Europe, but it's good to know. So this image here is just learning how to put your Facebook account into private mode so it's not available to the public. You don't want people just like downloading your images and keeping it for themselves for whatever purpose. So set your social media accounts to private. And the same thing for Instagram here at the top right. If you see right over there, top right, private account, it's just a checkbox. So yeah, exercise good digital hygiene, be conscious of what you do online, and know your rights. And networks with Jackson.
So thank you, Jess, for the great privacy topic you discussed. So hello, everyone. Today I'll be discussing virtually private networks, or better known as VPNs. What is a VPN? So a virtually private network is a way of securely connecting a computer to a distant network through a public network such as the internet. This is done by hiding your IP address and by letting the network redirect it through a specially configured remote server run by a VPN host. This means that if you surf online with a VPN, the VPN server becomes the source of your data. Your internet service provider, or ISP for short, and other third parties cannot see which websites you visit or what data you send and receive online. There are numerous benefits in using VPN, which includes secure local traffic while surfing on public Wi-Fi, bypass some of the filters and restrictions that your ISP puts in place, bypass some of the filters and restrictions of governments. So for example, Indonesia actually blocks Reddit, but a VPN gets around that. Geolocation manipulation and geolocation manipulations are just a few examples. There are actually a few misconceptions that people tend to make when they hear others use VPNs. First of all, some people think that VPNs actually slows down their network connection. They believe that the encryption-decryption phase slows down the connection speed, but in fact, that's actually not true. The only case this would ever happen is when the VPN user connects to servers that are located on the other side of the world. Secondly, the VPN protects me from everything online. Some people believe that. That's actually not true at all, because even though a VPN is a powerful tool when it comes to internet privacy and security, but it shouldn't be treated as a universal solution. And most importantly, you should still stay vigilant and careful while browsing the internet. Finally, some people say Tor and proxies are actually better than VPN. This is in fact false, as Tor networks and proxies are often named in the same context as VPN. On the surface, they seem interchangeable, but they function differently, as proxies only hide your IP address and do not encrypt your data. Here are some popular VPNs out there on the market. So we have NordVPN, ExpressVPN, Privacy Internet Access, or PIA for short, Surfshark, and CyberGhosts. So here's a web link for anyone that is interested in making their own VPN. However, this is pretty much the quick summary and the steps on making your own personal VPN. So first, you created a free account on Amazon Web Services. If you like, you can also link your current Amazon account, and then download Algo VPN on your local computer, and then unzip it, and then install the Algo VPN dependencies. Furthermore, run the installation wizard, and finally set up your devices to connect to the VPN. Finally, let's talk about firewall. So here's a quick summary of a firewall. So a firewall is like a long wall around your network, covered in doors. Each door is like a port in the firewall, and each door has a number, which is called the port number, and a rule. The rule decides what is allowed to come through that particular door and where it should go once it comes through. By default, firewall safeguards come installed on every Mac, Windows, PC, and router. A small subset of individuals out there has the perception that a firewall somehow does more harm than good. However, this is not true. Firewall provides protection against outside cyber attackers by shielding your computer or network from malicious or unnecessary network traffic. Firewalls can also prevent malicious software from accessing your a computer or network through the internet. Thank you for coming out to my TED Talk, and I'm going to pass it over to Nero.
Alright, hey everyone. Next we're going to talk a little bit about passwords. I'm sure all of us have dozens and dozens of online accounts, and coming up with strong, unique passwords for each of those accounts and remembering them all is pretty difficult. Luckily, one way to prevent password overload or password fatigue is to use a password manager. A password manager is a software application that can store and manage online credentials, usually in an encrypted database that is unlocked by a master password. It can also generate unique passwords that are difficult to guess. So how do password managers work? Well, as mentioned in the previous slide, a password manager stores your online credentials in an encrypted database. This database is either stored on your local machine or it's synced to the cloud using end-to-end encryption, meaning your data is encrypted before leaving your device and stays encrypted as it travels to the cloud. You only need to remember one master password to unlock all your credentials. However, when you use your master password to log into the manager, the software doesn't actually send your master password to verify you. Instead, it sends a one-way hash of the password that identifies you correctly but can't be used to unlock the manager itself. So here are 4 password managers that can help you get started. The free options include Bitwarden, which is also open source, and Dashlane, and paid options add more features, such as 1Password adds biometric unlocking, and LastPass. Another way to secure your accounts even more is to enable 2-factor authentication. as is the case when we log into our Sheridan accounts. For someone to get into your Sheridan account, they would need to know your login credentials and have access to your phone. So this increases the amount of information and time an attacker needs to get into the system. This is one of the easiest ways to protect yourself, even if your credentials do get leaked in a data breach, or even from password brute force attacks. All of the password managers mentioned in the last slide support two-factor authentication. But of course, the effect of these security practices are limited if you accidentally reveal your login credentials. This brings us to phishing, which is a social engineering method used to trick users into giving up their sensitive information, either through call, also called phishing, text, also called smishing, email, or social media. And attackers do this by impersonating legitimate businesses, organizations, or other people, and getting you to tell them sensitive information or to take some sort of action, such as clicking a link that downloads malware. And according to Verizon's Data Breach Investigations Report, 36% of data breaches in 2021 involved phishing attacks. If you want to find out if your credentials have been leaked in a data breach, you can use the website Have I Been Pwned. This site hosts a collection of data breaches and lets you search up your email address or phone number to determine what sensitive information of yours was leaked, if any. Pass it on to the next person.
Okay, so now we're going to talk a bit about how you can protect your devices and some different things you can do to make sure they don't get compromised. So just a few, it was on the other screen. So just a few examples of devices that need to be protected. So first of all, your personal computer and laptop. I'm sure everyone has one. Super important. How many files do you have on your computer? How many files of those would you want some random person looking through? Probably not a lot, I'm guessing. Your phone and other similar devices, another thing you use every day. You don't want that to be hacked. You don't want anyone to get through your personal information. And the last are IoT devices, which stands for Internet of Things. So basically it's the idea that our houses are now filled with smart devices and different devices that connect to the internet, but aren't necessarily secure. For example, if you have a smart doorbell, smart TV, or anything like that. So here's just some quick basic tips on how to secure your own computer. So a lot of these are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to kind of go quick. So run updates. So a lot of these updates, even if they don't add any flashy new features, they fix something, some kind of bug, some kind of security flaw. So make sure you do them regularly. Back up your data often. If you get hit with ransomware, it's probably unlikely, but if you get hit with any kind of big attack like that and your computer's done, you want to be able to back up your data and still have a lot of your files. Keep the actual device safe. Physical security is a huge thing. If I am going out for a coffee and I have my computer on my table and I go off to get my order and then I come back and my computer's gone, then that's like the worst type of breach. Be careful with public Wi-Fi. Sometimes people can read your traffic and see what you're doing. So don't do anything too sensitive there. And basically make sure anything you download or use is legitimate. Check out things, make sure you're using a legitimate website. Don't just download something off the random website you find. That's like .ru, random. Yeah. So IoT devices. So there's some interesting things here. So usually when they're making something like, even like a baby monitor, smart, like a smart doorbell, smart TV, smart fridge, they don't really have security in mind when they're building it. They don't expect people to want to attack your TV. But unfortunately, that makes it a possible attack surface, especially because it's connected to the internet and connected to your network. So then someone can attack your TV and then bring it on over to your computer, and then it's all over your network. So one of the main tips, I know I said updates already, but register for automated updates if available. Sometimes it's a little tricky with something that you're not necessarily like working with all the time. Like with your laptop, you might update that more, but make sure you're updating all these devices, and it can be automated. Turn off or disable devices that are not in use. Basically, if you can make the attack surface smaller, make it smaller. If there's a doorbell you're not using, don't leave it on, or don't leave it connected. One strategy I found recommended was to create a guest network just for your IoT devices. So if for whatever reason they get attacked, then they're not able to just move into your own network, into your computer or other devices. I actually found this interesting story where this wasn't for like a malicious attack, but Burger King made a commercial that when played would activate, it was either like Google Home or the Amazon Alexa, and make it so it would basically ask if you wanted Burger King. So that's not so malicious, but like imagine if somehow just by saying something or by playing video, someone could make your Amazon Alexa do certain things that might be a lot worse than making you feel like a burger. I skipped this. Always change from the default username and password. Yeah.
Well, actually, Jackson, since you said since you mentioned Burger King story, I don't know if anyone watches like Twitch streams or anything, but sometimes people will send a donation that verbally says hi Alexa or hi Google, but then they'll say what's my address, and then that's how a lot of people get their information.
Yeah, that's bad. That is bad. Especially with all that information that it could store, that it could just be like, oh yeah, what's my bank account again, Alexa?
Other ones include call 911 as well. Those
Yeah, that's bad. Even like that stuff's more like mischief, but it could be very, very malicious. Yeah, so here I was. Always change from your default username and password. I cannot tell you how many attacks there have been because someone had a lot of devices and all of these devices still had the factory username and the factory password. Because, like, come on guys. You gotta have a unique username and password. Because those are the same for everybody. If I buy one, it'll have the same password. So you have to make sure you change it. I'm talking to a room full of security professionals. Hopefully that's common sense. And yeah, so attacks on these devices can easily spread through your network because a lot of the time they're just connected for their purpose. Because if I'm having my doorbell and later I have it connected to my computer, so later I can watch it back, then that could be a way for an attacker to pivot from just getting your doorbell to attacking your computer. I'm just going to talk about some antivirus quick. I'm sure everyone knows what an antivirus system is. I'm just going to get into a little bit of how it works and some kind of examples that I've found are the better ones. So they are designed to detect and remove viruses and other kinds of malicious software from your computer. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's basically in the name. And they often include functions related to web security and encrypting network traffic as a bit of a bonus. So they work in the background and they evaluate data to determine if a file, web page, or process is malicious, and then it works to remove it. I'm going to get a little bit into how and why soon. So generally they detect malware by comparing a database of known malware or by looking for patterns or elements that may indicate malware. So it might not be a program that's been seen before, but it might have certain processes that have been seen as malicious. Some of these have actually started to use AI systems and stuff like deep learning to be able to look at a program and figure out if it's malicious without necessarily having seen it before. I'm just going to go into a few antivirus and a bit of what I found they do well and maybe what they don't. So Bitdefender Antivirus Plus was, from what I found, pretty top ranked. It's pretty good all around, but from what I found, it's fairly expensive. And they have a VPN service, but you need an extra subscription for that. But it did very well with detecting malware because of course they do a lot of lab tests for these where they put all these different antivirus softwares with a bunch of malware and other malicious events, and they check to see how often it detects it and which ones are the best at detecting certain things. So Bitdefender was really good at that, but it's kind of on the more expensive side, and it has some add-ons. WebRoot Secure Anywhere Antivirus was another really good one I found. It was noted that it was very light on your system resources, so it's not going to slow down your computer at all. It also, another cool thing I found was it can actually roll back if you're hit by ransomware. I actually saw a video of something similar where you can actually see your files getting encrypted from the ransomware, and then it just activates and just unencrypts them. Like, it just rolls it back. Well, not unencrypt, but it basically makes it so that didn't happen. And it makes it so it doesn't happen. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then McAfee Antivirus Plus, it didn't get as good ratings in like the lab and stuff like that as the other ones. But where it did do well was in its kind of plan options. So one of the things it has is you can get a lot of devices covered by it. So if you have a lot of devices for whatever reason in your company or in your house that need to be protected, they usually have plans that can cover a lot of them. And ESET Nod 32 antivirus. This one was the more complex one that I thought that they kind of recommended for more of a security professional if you're willing to put the work in, because it doesn't, for lack of a better term, it doesn't really hold your hand as much. It's not doing all these things by default, but you have the most control over what it does. So you can set specific things to be ignored or specifically looked at. You can blacklist things, whitelist things. Like, you actually are able to have a greater degree of control over what it's doing. And all of these antivirus had a lot of the basic functions like encrypting web traffic, obviously checking for viruses, and protection against phishing, which is a big one, as was said before. And that's it for our personal security segment. Hopefully you learned something. I know a lot of it is fairly common sense, but yeah, hopefully you learned something.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, content team, for that. Like Jackson said, I hope you picked something up that'll make you slightly more secure. So we'll take a break. We can reconvene, say maybe around, let's reconvene at 7:50. I'll upload the CCR form. The CCR code is on the slide now. And this is also for first years. There is a first year server, so I'll also post a link to that. That's a good way to connect with your classmates and maybe get a little bit of help. So after that, we'll be joined by Taz, who will talk about getting that first job in cybersecurity. See you then. Okay, so we're ready to get started with our main segment for tonight. We're joined by Taz from Microsoft. He's actually a graduate of the program, and his talk's going to be dedicated to giving you the inside scoop on how to land that first job in cybersecurity and getting your foot in the door. So Taz, thank you again for coming out.
Yeah,
Take it away.
All right. Hi everyone. Welcome. Thank you for welcoming me. Yeah, tonight. So we'll be talking I'll say casually. There's nothing really, important here. But how to find your first job. How hard is it? I'm gonna share some stories. I'm gonna give you some tips. I've been in both area, interviewing, getting interviewed. And yeah, just understanding, just quick survey, how many first year here? All right, good. We'll stay until all to the end for sure. Second year, that's good. Third year, I guess, majority. Yeah, and then fourth year. Yeah. Okay. All right. Call, yeah, sure. Alumni, non-alumni, probably in the chat, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's not in the thing. All right, yeah. First job plan edition. Yay. A little introduction of myself and the topics. So disclaimer, protection for me, pretty much. No need to read that, but my HR will read that. So, yeah, I'm Taz, Task Manager on Twitter, on Discord, ISSessions. You can find me on LinkedIn /in/Tondang and I'm working for Microsoft already for like 7 months or so, 5 years professional. I graduated 2018, information system security, not cyber security. So, yeah. I've been presenting here quite a bit. Develop CTF challenge also. I'm also part of the DFIR report and curated intel. So if you are you want to work in cybersecurity, you should follow those two because they're giving like free resources on like cybersecurity, like legitimate attack on like companies and such. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about my career. So the first 2017, that's like my final year kinda. I work in the company called Point Click Care. I think you've probably heard of it, it's Mississauga. So all around security, I'm gonna tell a little bit about that later. And then I moved to Manulife, application security, and then threat hunting at Bell, managed detection and response at EY Consulting, and then lastly Microsoft security research, focusing on their cloud security, M365 Defender for cloud. They change the name every 5 months, so yeah, it's security for cloud. I guess the biggest question for you here, or the question that you're gonna ask when you are approaching co-op or like for the first time working like after school, it's like how hard can it be to find your first Infosec job? I'm gonna tell you my story. It is, for me, it's really hard. It was really hard. So I'm not from here. I moved 8 years ago to Canada from Indonesia. Nice, warm countries. And I moved to Canada for school, finished the school, get a job. It was really hard to get that job. It was really hard for me to get a job. I'm gonna tell you like how hard it is. Like I've sent like hundreds of like my resume is everywhere, like random companies with connection, without connections. I got like 30 interview calls. Some of them like go all the way to the end. Some of them just like first steps. I didn't get any offer. Technically, I didn't get any offer. This job, my other friend got it. It is actually really peaceful when you see you went to the interview, you think it's well, and then your friend like shared that they get a job. I mean, like they're your friend. You should be happy for them, but you really want that job sometimes, right? But yeah, I didn't get it. They called me like weeks or two. It's already in May, so I'm already missing like 2 weeks of my supposed to be working time. And they called me like, hey, we got new position open, and you're number 2 in the line. Oh, thank you so much. I'm number 2, but yeah, I'll take it. Like, not the first time. Microsoft is also like that. I was number 2 in the line. We talked again for over 1 year, and they hire me afterwards. Yeah, so that's kind of the story. That's my experience. It can be that hard for you, but I don't want anyone here to experience that. So what did I did wrong the first time? I doesn't really know what I want. Like I know what I don't want. I don't want to be pen tester. Everybody here want to be pen tester, so that's gonna be interesting, right? I delay my job application because I missed the deadlines. I didn't know that they are hiring. I'm missing information sessions. For example, one of my friends he got accepted at Deloitte because he attended pretty much the information sessions. I don't even know about it after he got the job. So that's already too late. Over presenting my skills in my head, so I told myself, I know Linux. My first interview, they asked, what is Linux? They asked command, like, how do you list process? I don't even know that, so I don't know Linux really. So I shouldn't put that in my resume because it's gonna kill you. Not doing enough non-Infosec stuff, so you're in the first year, you're doing it already, so that's good for you. But yeah, come to this presentation, go to like B-sites, go to like some free conference, free trainings, people everywhere in Canada. Doing outside of school, it's always good. Sometimes building your own projects outside of school, it's also good. Going to event, meetup. There's DEF CON 416 next week in EY building, Tuesday. So go attend that, it's free. You'll probably see some of the people here, probably me. There's some nice people there also that you can network. And then I have no presence on LinkedIn. We'll fix that, all of this for you tonight. So yeah, TLDR, just don't be me. Yeah. So we'll talk about the job. The first thing first, checking this just in case any questions. Yeah, the job itself, what is a job, right? That's probably the question for this section. So your first Infosec job will be consisting of location. Where are you going to work? Remote, in person, a company, whether you like it or not, like why would I work for them? And then the role, which is like pen tester, blue teamers, threat intel, blah, blah, blah. So location. So I've done my research. I've been applying in the past 4 years or so. So I know where companies are. So for example, in Canada itself, if you are interested working for a big corporation like banks, like Canadian Tire and such, it's gonna be Toronto. And good thing you're in Toronto. When I say Toronto, it's GTA pretty much. Finance also, but if you want to work for government, you want to be a contractor. Even if you are want to work for pen test company that work for government, you will have eventually move to Ottawa because of requirements. It's a little bit complicated for them. Startups, there's a lot of startups, Montreal, Waterloo, and then of course the big corporation, Microsoft Engineering Office in Canada. It's mainly in Vancouver. So does Amazon, Google, and Meta is actually pretty spread out, and majority I think it's in Toronto. Of course, there's startups, there's security vendors, Sophos, Fortinet, like the FortiGate thing, and yeah. So but all over the country there's jobs. If you're talking about oils industry, of course you want to go to Calgary, like energy, etc. So knowing this, it's important. And you ask how do I know this? I just perform a LinkedIn search, and everything is there pretty much. Which company is doing cybersecurity? The answer is everyone, or everyone should be. But the next question is, why would I choose them? There are so many things that you can add to consideration to pick a company. For me, the most important one right now is job safety. You're hearing layoffs, hiring freeze happening. How in my company, in the big four, Meta, a lot of big cuts. I think Salesforce, just today, they laid off hundreds of technical recruiters. So could it be affecting security people? Maybe not. Was it Peloton that just wiped the whole security team, and they hire MSSP? So you don't want to be in that position, right? There's also good things, if you're seeing funding, IPO, acquisition, for example, Arctic Wolf just get 400 millions. They're gonna hire people for sure. Financial, of course, money on the front, 100K, 200K, 800K. Okay, maybe that's too much for now, but yeah. And then you got stock options, RRSP if you want to retire, right? And then bonus, and then benefit, health, fitness, mental health. What about your family? If you have wife, kids, are they covered or not? Flexibility. This is also a big thing right now. Can I work from home? Can I work anywhere? It's different. If you can work from home, you can work from Toronto. If you can work from anywhere, you can go to Europe for 4 months. You can go to Africa for 4 months. So it's a different thing because there's politics, there's some other stuff on it. Can you work at any time? I'll interview with one company, and they actually asked, are you prefer working in the afternoon or at night? Oh, that's an option. So and I didn't go to the company, unfortunately, but yeah, that's some flexibility that you can have. And what about management, micromanagement? I don't think anyone likes to be micromanaged, but if it's your thing, well, go ahead. People, culture, industry, the vision of goals of the people inside. Infosec public figure, probably know Hacks for Pancake. Leslie Carhart, no? Okay. If you talk to Nick, he always bring that up. But it's pretty much one of the top principal researcher in the Dragos, which is IoT, OT company. So if you're really interested in working with her, you're probably gonna push I want to go to Dragos. I'll start from the bottom, but eventually I'll talk with the people, right? The group, yeah, is it tight knit or they just after work they go home or they play D&D together? It's something that you wanna know. And then growth. Can I learn in my job at all, or should I? For example, some position. You're literally just finishing tickets, and after that, you do the learning outside of your shift. But some of the job, for example, Microsoft, they actually push you to learn on the job. yeah, and then can I have mentor? Can I mentor anyone? What about the leadership? What is their thinking, etc. Non-infosec training, like presentation is important skills. Not everyone paying for that. One of my company actually paid for all the new grads to do that, so that's something important. I'm gonna list companies. So if you're not on the list, I saw some co-op here. I think most of them are in here. If you're not in it, don't be mad. No offense at all. Yeah, so Canadian-based consulting company. We got the Big Four, EY, Deloitte, PwC, KPMG. You know, you heard something about Big Four. You work 1 year on it, you gain 2 year experience. It's true. Yeah, money is good. And then yeah, security consulting, Mandy and CrowdStrike. We got a lot of you know, like alumni in these positions. BlackBerry, they're really big on the like car security, IoT security, and then all of these will have like any alumni work in these companies. So it's easy to get in if you know who they are. And then yeah, classic like banks, telcos, loan, and then insurance, like finance, all these companies, yeah, and then Microsoft there, Google, Amazon, AWS. So yeah, they are operating in Canada. So if you're looking around, they're probably hiring maybe some interns, maybe not. Yeah, just go check it. So I have this page just like bookmark. So I'm just gonna go through it really quick or like skip it completely. But feel free to come back to it. This is a North American company. The one with the asterisks, those are the company that you can actually follow to learn more in cybersecurity. Trusted Sec, Black Hills, this is like general coming into cybersecurity. Falcon 4, Spectre Ops, Red Canary, this is more like, what do you call it, like detection engineering, threat hunting stuff. Dragos, it's gonna be like OT, IoT stuff. Yeah, in other companies. You know, like cybersecurity is this big. These are like skill sets that you can learn. If you know, that's good. If you don't know, that's good. Now you know. Yeah, so this is created 2021. Maybe there's a version 4, I'm not sure. But this is just to show you how big it is. What time is it? 8:05, okay. Yeah, so we'll talk some, I would say majority of them. I'll try my best to compile everything. So the first role that we'll talk, of course, offensive security, pen testing, red teaming, vulnerability assessment. So what are the key skill set that you need to learn, you need to know in order to, you know, get one of these positions? You need to know attack kill chain. I think there was like the password thing, right? That's only one thing. If you compromise password, sometimes you wanna go all the way to the end. You wanna create distraction, or if you are like threat actors, you need to know that because you are emulating threat actors. So maybe not ransomware. Maybe you wanna pop the domain admin. You need to know like the kill chain. MITRE ATT&CK is one of the best thing for that. OSINT, we talked about OSINT before. I don't think I need to explain it more. Internals of operating systems, Windows, of course, working for Microsoft, you need to know that. But we have position in Microsoft that are actually learning about Mac and Unix because they are doing research on that. Offensive security tooling, Bloodhound, Nmap, Metapr, C2. If these are just like letters to you, that's fine. You go figure out later. And then CTF experience, that's the hands-on thing that you can do these days for like students. So yeah, there's a CTF coming next year, do it. Exploit development, like I wouldn't suggest you to start now, maybe later once you know things. Yeah, it's easy to brick your computer, so don't do that. Programming, scripting, people say programming is not important. I say it is important. It will set you apart. Let me put it that way. When you know programming, when you know scripting, and also networking. This is like the basic stuff of like computer stuff, right? So if you know that deeply, it's easy to exploit stuff. And then social engineering, it's fun. And then lastly, reporting. Like I think 40% of these people job is actually to write reports. And then yeah, there's a concept in GitHub called Awesome. So Awesome is just like compilation of all the things. That's why it's awesome. So if you go to Awesome Red Teaming, it will tell you all the red teaming tools. Vulnerability research, it will tell you all about that. So those are links. I will share the presentation slide at the end. And then Spectre Ops blogs, I mentioned they're really big on detection engineering, so you want to look into that. MITRE ATT&CK, AD, it's Active Directory. It's pretty much how computer talks within the network. There's ways you can, attack it. There's ways you can defend it. And then, cloud security, because why not? These are the common titles. Split into 4: offensive, VM, research development, purple team. So research development probably like something like you're building new C2, you're building exploit, you just like exploit stuff pretty much. I'm just gonna skip it real quick, read it later. Sample job posting. This is really specific. Red team wireless security researcher for Apple. You need to know like Wi-Fi and NFC. This is like strong networking, but you need to know C++, Objective-C. Why there's no C# there? Because it's Apple. They don't really use C#. So sometimes, I want to go to Apple, and then you learn C#. That's kind of like useless. You might want to learn Objective-C. So that's also one thing, like company. You need to know like what they're using. Like just by checking this, you already know what they're using. So that's something that you want to learn. And then like pen tester in Alexandria, VA. This is very lucky for government, like U.S. government. But this is pretty generic because you have associate. But yeah, this is some of the sample. Defensive stuff, you need to know critical thinking. Do we have like electives for that? Probably. They have electives for everything these days, but it's pretty much like how do you connect the dot? You have events everywhere. This is happening there, this is happening here. How do you connect the dots? And then thinking about it critically, expanding the horizon, right? So I think that's the biggest thing that you can have. And then intrusion analysis, pretty much tracing, just like how attackers know from A to Z, you need to track back from Z to A. That's pretty much the job, how it is these days. You are doing it by doing log analysis. You're doing it by doing forensics. And then you need to know, of course, Windows, Mac, cloud networking, SIEM, it's security, yes, events, event logging stuff, yes. I use it every day, but I forget what it is. So it's pretty much like, it's ingesting all the logs from network, from EDR, from whatever you have, from your phone sometimes, from, anything. And then you correlate different stuff, you build detection on top of it. Antivirus, EDR, again, programming, certain reporting, communication, all this stuff. And then maybe like the big one is signature building, because these days everything can be created as a signature. So Yara, it's like you have a file, and then Yara, you do a signature with Yara. It will tell you what's unique in this file, and when you run the scan, you can actually tell, oh, this is file. It's and then Snort, it's something like that, but for network, you should learn it in the course. And then there's the link. Open it later. I would suggest if you're like year 1, year 2, if you want to go ahead of your people, check the Security Plus, because it's pretty much the same thing with what you're learning, but it's more compact. So I think it's good for you to know it ahead of time. And then this is the defensive position. I guess some people like one of the glorified threat hunter, detection engineer. Those are the two glorified ones. Threat intel, CTI people. If you do machine learning, you can do machine learning also on that side. DFIR is more like forensically. You bring the disk, you take it off, you run whatever the tools. I forget the names. Volatility, whatever, and then you get everything that's happening inside there. And then, this is some of the jobs: SOC analyst in DigitalOcean, North American, remote. So those are like the skill set, pretty much match what we're talking about previously. Threat intel for like Chevron, which is like oil company. And then this is some of the less touch roles that we've. This is actually one of they're like the pillar of everything. If you don't have application security, DevSecOps, infrastructure, there's no security. Red, blue, purple, whatever, there's no security. So a lot of respect for these people. If you're into setting up Linux and then installing stuff, like figuring network and stuff, this is probably a job for you. If you already know like instrumentation, so like how can I spin up a C2 server, not one, 500 in one go. you can use tools for that. So it's gonna be like in the cloud. You're gonna do all this stuff. Container, Docker, Kubernetes. If you're interested, try to learn that. If you don't know what that is, just look it up. And then OWASP. That's for apps. It's completely different how you hack Active Directory on how you hack web application. So web application OWASP is just the front, but Active Directory is all the way to the end. So completely different skill set. A good pen tester, a good red teamers, they know everything, but some of them know a little bit of everything, but they learn, they go deeper in certain aspects. Yeah, SAST, DAST, this is like application code review. So you're actually scanning your code, checking if you're using like bad functions that is unsecure, that can be exploited. So cool stuff. Yeah, SDLC, like how do you build the software, like the steps, planning, blah, blah, blah. CI/CD, a similar concept. You know, like how all your apps are pushing updates every day. So that's CI/CD. They're testing new feature every time, and security have to catch up on that. And then yeah, pretty much vendor-specific tools, all the acronyms, same UABA, what else? AVDR, NFGW, Next Gen Firewall, etc. Those are the resource link for you later. Those are the title for DevSecOps. Yeah, pretty much like if you into like building application, managing infrastructure, and then these are for the infra and technology related. Sample job posting, synopsis. So this is more like do code analysis. So SAST, DAST tools. OWASP top 10. OWASP is like top 10 vulnerability in the web app. So like injections, local file inclusion and stuff. So if you like to, you know, like hack application, if you like actually building, if you have experience building web application, this might be something that you can do in terms of security, right? Infrastructure security engineer, this is really generic. You can literally have any knowledge in cloud. And then yeah, some like technology name, Terraform, Packer, scripting language, and then clearance. I think this is government job for sure. And then there's GRCPM. I would say only like 0.1% people will go here from this program or having interest at start. Maybe some people doesn't really know that this exists. So this is like, how do we fulfill what government wants, pretty much. There's so many standards listed there. For Canada, I think we are impacted by HIPAA for sure. We get some our own stuff. I don't remember. But yeah, they pretty much make sure that we met the minimum requirement of security in the company. For example, in Microsoft, like for our cloud to be accepted by the US government, we need to do some stuff to fulfill their like, you know, like whatever they want pretty much. So this is if you're interested in audit, policy management, you know, like governance, risk stuff. Yeah, talking with people, like project management stuff. Also, I put PM there. Yeah, if you're interested in PM also, project management. So like pretty much not really technical, but you need to know what your engineer is talking about this. Yeah, the positions itself, GRC, job posting. Yeah, Big Four, they have a lot of positions for this. And then Microsoft, half of Microsoft people are program manager anyway. Yeah, but there are more non-standard stuff like customer success specialist. So you need to make sure that customer understand how to use your tools. We have a lot of this position in Microsoft in Canada, for example. Account manager, account executive, you need to talk the CISO language still to, you know, for them to use your tools. Recruiters, community managers, so the Discord, the Slack, there's people monitoring that. Sales, technical writer, content builder, trainers. If you like hack the box, all those platforms, there are people making contents behind it. And then there's of course executives, and I'll put it like YouTubers in there. Like there's cybersecurity YouTubers like on TikTok, and stuff, right? It's a niche market, but it's there. Yeah, these are just like some things to level up pretty much. So it's gonna be the same thing like around between them. So you have to join community. It's gonna be different from offensive, defense, participate in conference, I listed there, building lab in a sense, but you're deploying different set of tools. For example, in Red Team, it's gonna be like Caldera, which is like a platform to launch an attack. And then in defensive, you're gonna deploy the SIEM. You try to ingest logs from your firewall, from your antivirus. And then if you like to read books, there are some examples of it also. And then you can also code your own stuff. And for the, what do you call it? For the AppSec, this is more like do more coding, I guess. Learn about the technology that is here. Yeah, it's gonna be different technologies, so many things in AppSec, they move so fast. Understanding Git hygiene, if you don't know what's Git, but you're interested in this, you should look up into it. It's pretty much like a code management application, or like practice, I would say. Yeah, you can deploy it on your own labs. You can learn more about OAuth CVEs. If you're doing like vulnerability research, you probably know CVEs. But it still can be used in AppSec also. Yeah, join the community, code even more, and getting familiar with it. Yeah, Leslie Carhart, Hack for Pancakes. There's a blog post there, and of course, John Simpson's always presenting Wonderful World Infosec every year. So I think there's a new one, right? Like a few weeks ago. So I don't have the link. So if you know about it, feel free to share it with your friends. I think let's take a quick break, or like questions.
Yeah.
Anyone? Any questions?
Feel free to ask
Yeah.
away. Same goes for everybody tuning in online. Feel free to send past any questions you have.
Go ahead.
What would you suggest to somebody who, like, we're taking 8-month co-ops,
Yeah.
but a lot of entry-level stuff requires 2 to 3 years experience and things like that.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to gain more experience to eventually get to that level?
Like for the co-op, or like for
Like
the?
after co-op.
Well, the thing is, like, you need to know like what you want first, right? So I gave all of these, and then the skill set is there. So it's depends what you want really. Like you have to find using the job title, like the things. You have to find like what align to your goal. Well, just make sure you know that sometimes it will not work as easy as that, right? There are some. I personally would say there's interchangeable skills between the position. For example, programming, networking. So if you are, getting deeper in that, and then yeah, just learning on that and go a little bit more specific in certain area that you're interested. That's probably one thing that you can do, and maybe research also like for after graduation, what options do I have? So once you know that, you can link it up with the co-op thing. It's too much thing to do for third year. I guess just live it your way, like you enjoy what you're doing in the 8 months. Cybersecurity, it's easy to move right around from red, blue to GRC to whatever. But yeah, I guess try to be more technical if you want, and then yeah, like you just see what you have in the future, I guess. Yeah, there's no like really like learn, I don't know, like hack the box all day every day. No, I don't think that would be useful if you're doing like GRC or something, right? Yeah, it's just like adjust when you're going, check and adjust. Yeah. Yeah.
When you first started off through your security, were you, like when you first applied to Microsoft, were you intimidated by the resume requirements? So when companies say 3+ years of experience, would you say that would turn you down when you first applied?
No, I definitely had less than what I asked, for sure. But when I applied for Microsoft, I don't even, so I applied for the job. As I told you, I didn't get it. I was the number 2. But I think for that one, I applied when I only had like 2 years, and they asked for like 3-4 years. but the thing between those times, I, I, I shift myself to more like Microsoft stuff, Azure Cloud and stuff. So again, like I know what they are looking for, and I'm moving my way that way. And then I think the pinnacle of it, I actually presented a sector on Azure, and that actually kind of like pulled them. So I'm not really intimidated by maybe if you're like 25 years and you apply it with 2 years, that's kind of like common sense, right? But if it's only like 3 years difference, I would say still go for it. The worst thing that they can do, they say like, well, I guess they send you nothing, no response, or they say no, right? Yeah, I guess don't be intimidated for that. Anyone else? So, once, twice, thrice, okay. Let's go to the next topic, which is like the hiring system itself. So based on my experience, first thing first, what you need to do, you need to search for the job itself. You'll feel this, like me, pretty much. You get your peers, you're getting, like they're getting offers, some of them getting interviews, and they're just not getting any response. That's fine. It happens all the time. Like it's good to share because good to communicate with people because like you want to know like why they're successful, why I'm not, or like if you're helping other people, why they're not successful. Maybe it's always good to have that a community, I would say. First thing first, if you're first year, if you're second year, or even third year, you can set up LinkedIn job search for free. All you need to know, like the location, Canada, pretty much. Role, title, skill, like any role that you're interested, and then just let the job, like results came in. The reason why I told you that because it will build the machine learning profile on your job search. So eventually, when you're looking for the job, the machine learning already know like what you want, which is really cool. Like these days, I don't even put like this location and role. They just give me, suggested jobs for you. And majority of the time, this is like, I want this, pretty much. For starting up, you can use these terms, like junior, entry level, associate. Don't try to use the internship thing in LinkedIn's job search. They have like a internship, entry level, like checkboxes. That thing doesn't really work because the recruiters don't really use it. So just put it on the search term itself. So like entry-level SOC analyst, entry-level pen tester, like associate pen tester, and then for co-op you can use that. If you're looking, for example, in UK, they're not going to use co-op, they're not going to use intern, they're going to use apprentice. So it's like just like different things, different cultural maybe, and then you can use the period. Sheridan is a little bit interesting with the 8 months because majority of the big company, they are following like the universities. So I think like 4 months and then 4 months, but they are doing it like for 2 years or so. So it's going to be interesting. You need to maximize your LinkedIn profile. So when you create it, complete all the sections. When you're using a photo, try to get professional. I'll put quote on it. It can be fun. It can be like you're like doing rock climbing or you're like biking or something, but just like not like wake up selfie, like something nice for people to see. And tailor your summary and headline. Pretty much your summary, it's what's gonna be on your resume. The reason why, because it's easier. Like you don't have to modify things. Headline, what are you passionate about? Because that's the first thing that the recruiter will see when you're looking at it, and they're like, is it worth it for me to visit? Because they visit like hundreds of profiles every day. So make sure that you're already like showing what you can offer to people from the start. When you're like using the LinkedIn, you're sharing updates and interact with people. Make sure that it is actually genuine, not just like I'm seeing a lot of people just like nice posts, great. Thank you. I know my post is great, but like add something to it. Like you read the article that I share. You actually know what you're talking about, even like a simple discussion, right? But you don't have to say nice post, blah, 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 but be nice to everyone. Don't like, like chat, not nice things, I would say. You can actually use LinkedIn for blogging. Hack the box. Okay, I pop this box, I pop that box. You can put like a little write-up, Sheridan CTF. Oh, I did this challenge, I did that challenge, this is how I do it. You can use LinkedIn for that actually. There's LinkedIn group also that you can expand your networking. Personalized LinkedIn address, like my address is like Tondang Mangatas. By default, it's like maybe Mangatas Tondang and then some random numbers, so it's easier for you to give it to people when you're like like talking or like presenting or just like networking. Well, it's for me, if I'm accepting connection these days, sometimes there are bots, sometimes there are actually attackers trying to lure like security researcher people. It's nice to see if they have a lot of connection already, because I know either they are like real life people or they have like really good networking bot. So they have so many bots that add each other kind of thing. But still, yeah, connect with people like this, the people in the rooms. First thing first, if you're working already, connect with your boss, with your leaders. That's always nice. And then yeah, think about connections. Best place to start will be school. Teachers, peoples from your years, up and down. Alumni for sure, alumni. And then yeah, go to local conferences. Besides Toronto, DEF CON 416, there's OWASP Toronto also. And there will be break, there will be food. That's your chance to actually talk to people. And when some people just like, oh, I don't want to talk, or just leave them alone. But if they want to talk to you, that's good. There's a more regional sector. I would say it's like almost national sector. NorthSec in Montreal, Hackfest. I think Hackfest is one of the best one for new people. Just go with like group of friends, Quebec City, get I don't know, like Airbnb or hotel together, and then just like attend the conferences. There's a lot of like hands-on villages, things to do there. Like I cracked my first, like lockpicking, it's in there. So yeah, it's always nice to have that experience. Open source community, my first open source community project was not anything really security. It's translation project from English to Indonesian in OWASP project. So I'm translating their documentation to Indonesian. So that's something that you can do if you have like that kind of knowledge, or you can look around GitHub. You can follow people on Twitter to see like what's project out there. Training workshop classes, yeah. When you are in there, interact with people. Hey, this is my LinkedIn. Sometimes they have like group chat, right? Like Discord, and they have like a room where you can share your LinkedIn or like Twitter profile. So that's the best thing, because you have pretty much get the first line of saying, "Oh, hey, I'm in this training, blah blah blah." I think I talked to you, something like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna tell you like how powerful this connection is. One of the story that a job that I didn't accept. Like I denied the offer, unfortunately. So I have this. I've been following the people working in this organization for quite a while. Sylvan, like my friend up there. They're like the big people in the industry, like detection engineering, threat hunting. So I follow some of their employees. I know the boss himself, and then yeah, and I actually have friend from open source community that I work with together, and he actually just get hired like 4 months before I apply. So yeah, I tell him like, hey, I have this job position in Toronto, Canada, and he's still like, yeah, go apply. Like I'll give you good work. And then like, because I'm familiar with the company already, I actually approach on LinkedIn the hiring manager. I told him literally like a paragraph like, oh, I know this guy, what you're doing, your company, your culture, it's aligned with me, blah, 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 and then he just replying to it. And then I already built I haven't applied to the job. I just give him my intention to the hiring manager. And he already know my name. He will know that I'm submitting my application soon. And then yeah, and then from there, the recruiter calling an interview, blah, blah, blah. And then the people who interview me are the people that I follow on Twitter, that I saw every day what they're doing. So when I'm talking to them, I'm just discussing what they're doing pretty much. They're not asking me questions, just like oh yeah, you did that. What about this? Can you did you think about this, doing that, blah blah blah. It's more like conversation. It's easier for you also. And then yeah, eventually, long story short, they gave me the offer, but Microsoft gave me offer, so I accept the Microsoft offer. But yeah, that's how powerful connection can be. You kind of like attacked it from different front, so they're getting overwhelmed and if you're like really good, there's like two people really good, like the skill set, like in terms of like technicalities. If you do that, you probably like all the way up here, and you probably go to the it's something that everyone can do, but not anyone doing it anyway. So why not? If you really want the job, right? Resume, yeah. For you new people, keep it short, 2 pages. For like longer, like 10 years, whatever, you can go all the way you want. Try to make it towards your job description that you're applying to. The way to know what is the job description is to find the job first, right? And then add keywords. I will show you how mine look like. Add data to the story. I don't personally do it because it's hard. For example, I built a system that can accommodate 100 users. So that's number. Oh, that's 100 users, this system. And then, for example, if you're improving something, I make it 3 times faster. They're not gonna ask, give me the calculation of time, like do like print time, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not gonna ask that, but like it's nice. And then, yeah, explain your experience thoroughly. There's this one time I'm helping my friends, like reviewing resume, and I like, why don't you put this, that like literally something that we do every day that will, good for this position. So that happens all the time. You just missed it. So it's again, I'll go to the bottom part, like ask for review. I think that's also really important. Yeah, focus on you, on yourself. So I did this, not we did this, because it just changed the perspective of their reading. Oh, he's just a team member. He's not initiating it. He's not doing it personally. So it's just like mental thing to do. Cover letter, when they ask, put it. When there's options for it, put it. Because it's again like maybe you're all the same, like the skill set, and you do cover letter and they're like, oh, this guy's more persistent compared to the others. They pay more details. They have stories to tell. They have more connection to this role. Yeah, include LinkedIn, GitHub, any website that you have. Use minimize white space. I will show you. Like that format, like name and then like just small text in the middle, and then like all the white space that you're not using it. So you want to minimize that. Professional email, not the 360 no scope hire me at gmail.com. And contact information also. Yeah, if you have like Twitter handle that is not really appropriate, don't put it there. Just create a new one. It's easy. Follow the file format requirement. If they ask for a PDF, upload PDF. Do not upload, exe. We try to hack them or something. But yeah, I like to keep a pasteable, like a TXT file. So it's because like when you're submitting PDF or Word, there's formatting in it. But if you are using TXT file, you keep it on the side. You can just copy paste it easily when you're applying to their, like talent website, like Talio, Greenhouse. So it's easier for you to copy paste. It's gonna be the same information anyway. Just keep it a TXT file on the side and then review. Yeah. So this is my resume. If it doesn't look like yours, it's fine. You can make it like mine using my discount code. I'm joking. I don't have discount code. Yeah. So pretty much I have my skills on the right. So this small column on the right is pretty much just to capture the ATS. Pretty much a system that will rank you on the recruiter ends. So we'll pretty much put you in 1 or like 500. You don't want to be in 500. So this thing will tailor to my experience, first thing first, but also to the job description. So I will put anything that is relatable, and then the summary. It's pretty much kind of like the same that I have on my LinkedIn, my experience. This is my old resume. another Microsoft stuff. And it's just like what I do, like telling the story. And then community activities, I put everything in there. Sheridan ISSessions, certification, contact again at the bottom. I put the headlines, like threat hunting and detection engineering, location. No need to put your address. This is not 2001 or something. You actually can get docs. So phone number, of course, and then the one that I censored is actually my email address. And yeah, education. For you, you probably want to put the education before the experience, unless you have some work experience. And then I did some presentation, I just put it there. One thing that, smallest thing that I like to do, I usually change the color of the top according to the company I'm applying. So if it's EY, it's going to be like yellow, like, like gray kind of combinations. It's just like mental game, right? Like, they see it every day. They're probably like, these guys, one of us. And then for the application, make sure when you're applying, you actually track them. I did this wrong for quite a bit. I just getting reply like, hey, we are scheduling interview. Like, did I apply for this job? And then you don't know like what's going on there because you don't know the role, you don't know the position, because it will not send you back with all the job description. No, it just tell you this is the date, this is the invite, and you need to trace back, where did I send it? Apply to a company that you want to work in or at least interview with. I interview with many companies. I don't want to work for all of them. The reason for that, I'm building my interview preparation. So I get questions from those companies that I learned that I made mistakes on. And when for example, I interview with Microsoft, I already know the answers. So I did one with Amazon. That was like really grilling. They asked me about like networking stuff. My friends was like laughing because I just like baffling. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then like, I'm learning. I learned that the next time I interview with the other companies, right? So the more you interview, the more knowledge you have, pretty much. When you're applying to the job, I keep telling LinkedIn, but don't apply from using the easy apply on LinkedIn. Everyone hate it, like the recruiters hate it. Go to their talent website, like Talio, Greenhouse, whatever that they're using. So it's gonna be like, for example, for Mandian or like CrowdStrike, crowdstrike.talio.com, something like that. Just go to that directly from their websites pretty much, and then utilize the pastable.txt file when you're putting the information. Tailor the resume, cover letter, and then if you know someone in there, just tell them, I'm applying. Do you have reference program? Can I put your name? You know me, what I'm doing. Do you think you can refer me? For the interview, these are things that I saw like commonly. So it will be introduction call. That's probably the first interview for everyone here. They'll call you whatever time they want, and they'll just pretty much ask you like, are you available for an interview call? Pretty much just to verify if you are still interested in the job. If you are fit the role, they will pretty much read your resume again, and you just like confirming it pretty much. And then you go to the next step, which is the technical interview. This is where you actually gonna tell them everything that you know. Could range from 1 to 5 interviews. Could be involve like some coding assessments, some lab assessment, and then after that, if you're doing well on that, you're probably gonna talk to the hiring manager. This is more like is this guy really gonna fit in my team? That's for the manager pretty much. And your goal is to make sure that you are. You see what they're doing, like for example, you want to apply for Mandian. You check their blogs, what they're doing. So if you talk their language, you should be one of them, right? That again, like, this is mind games. Like this whole thing is just like mind games. Executive interview, I don't know. Like these days, they just have like a VP talking to you for like 30 minutes or so. Pretty much the same thing. Will you fit in the culture? Do you have any question about the company itself? And then lastly, sometimes they do this. They give you a job offer, and then they will go through the job offer together with you. If you have any concern, what about whatever you're talking about in the offer, it should be written. If it's not written there, it's not in the thing. So these are the type of interview. For example, like the formality, because you attend the information sessions, you talk to the people, you come to the interview, you already know you get the job. So that's the formality, quote unquote. The regular one, pretty much like, like HR, technical hiring manager, technical heavy. This is more like for the like researcher position usually, and then FANG position. For co-op, I don't think they do this, but for the first time job, they'll probably like fly you to Vancouver, to Redmond, to Seattle, and then they'll ask you different questions, pretty much whole day. They'll pay for everything, which is good. But you'll meet a lot of people, you'll talk, you'll sit in different meetings, different topics, pretty much everything. And then from there, there's probably like 1 or 2 more interviews, and then you got the job. Interview tips and tricks. STAR, situation, task, action, results. Everybody use this. Amazon like really big advocate of this, but Microsoft use it, but low key. Like they don't tell you do STAR, no, but like they just list it in the blog post. Pretty much why you use STAR is so you encapsulate everything that you want to say for a question, and it's good because you can actually prepare yourself. You know, like this question, like. When you have an issue with teammates, how do you solve it? You can actually, I have this issue during project, and then this is how we solve it. You can actually keep that template and remember it. So when they ask that, you just like go along, right? You already know the question, already know the answers. Regarding practice, that's for like behavior, but for technical, there are links of like common cybersecurity questions, common engineer questions, etc. It should be in the next few slides. Prepare a specific scenario, like how do you deal with problematic team members, how do you overcome like failures, so small things like that. And then ask questions back because it's a two-way communications. As in my story, they're not really asking questions, we just like talking. So I think this is like questions that you really want to know, I would personally say. Like things like cultures, like what do I do every day, right? And then what is the goal of the team? Where are we going from here? Are you paying for training? Are you going to fly me to DEF CON, everything included or not? And then what are the next 7-day interview? Do you like me? Did I answer anything wrong? What can I improve on myself? So those are the tips. And then if you're interviewing, make sure you're ready. In terms of like dressing, it's good to overdress. It's bad to underdress. So when you're applying to a position, make sure you dress just like they are. And also the people, like for example, EY, my direct boss is actually, they're like really chill guy. They go to the EY tower with, like hoodies like this. But when I talk to the, like partner, I'm wearing something nice because I know it will see me as an underdresser, right? It's just leaving bad marks on the people. Do your research on the company. OSINT is free, like literally Googling like what happened with this company recently. It's helped you to build the story when you're talking to them. And that you pay attention to the companies. You have invested your time in them. Stay calm and focus. Like things like try to do some practice. Should be like some articles in the internet. If you don't know answers, take some time to actually think about it. And then if you miss something, just ask them to rephrase, repeat the question. Or if you don't know, just simply say I don't know because you don't know. Because integrity is actually a big thing. Never lie during interview because everyone knows everyone in the cybersecurity community, especially in Toronto. We had a really bad experience with candidates. We know it's just like lying. The resume, like perfect match. It's almost like copy, with the job description that we want. But when he entered the room, when he starts speaking stuff, we know that he knows nothing. And we arranged like 1 hour, the 15 minutes. One of the team leaders like, how do we end this interview? Like after 15 minutes, we just like not interested. And if he is applying in the future, I think we just like automatically discard it. So lying is a big thing, so never lie. Arrive early, like 15 minutes in person meeting, 5 minutes for Zoom meeting. My first co-op interview, I live in Mississauga, like West End Mississauga. My interview is in like East End of Richmond. So I'm busting 2 hours, but I still make it like early 15 minutes. Because, when you're scheduling interview, they ask you, when are you available? It's not like, oh, you have to come like 6 a.m. Like they don't do that, right? So make sure you calculate everything, traffics, yeah. And then, manners, don't cut off people, don't badmouth, respect everyone you meet, from front door all the way to the interviewer. Just pay attention, and I personally send thank you note. Well, at least to the people that I like. So, but yeah, it's a nice gesture. Some people say like, no, don't do it. It's for me personally, I do that. These are the interview resources. Those are links. Tech behavior, technical questions. There's a blog also. There's Black Hills Infosec job hunting. So there's like 5 or 6 videos where these guys literally just like sitting there looking at job thing, adding to the Excel sheet. So that's pretty much what you're doing if you're applying for jobs. So just watching that is just giving you a lot of information. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just a job. Cybersecurity is harsh and will be harsh for you. Do you think crypto is hard? Do you think, like risk assessment is hard? It will be harder even. There's so much thing, politics, things doesn't work your way, like layoffs and everything. So it's just a job. When you're looking for jobs, be strategic and also be realistic. Don't sit for like 12 hours a day looking for jobs because you are tired. When you're tired, you're not gonna be focused and you'll miss stuff, your typo stuff, you send it to the wrong people, so you send the wrong resume, so that's not good. So yeah, have fun, don't stress out, play games, do whatever you like. Yeah, these are my games. If you are enjoying my memes, please endorse me on LinkedIn. My memes is higher than Myrata, so let's keep pushing that up. Yeah, I like to do photography, like vacation, concerts, cooking and stuff, and games. Games, yes. Yeah, so if you, for whatever reason, not presently here, even though that you're here, there's a to-do list that you can actually kind of look into when you're like applying, or when you're like about the role, about the companies. This is a LAM method, so pretty much how to keep like your target companies, usually like around 40. Do you have alumni contacts for Microsoft? Yes. Some other company? Yes. Here. Do you really want to work for them? And then job posting. So sort it. That's pretty much like how you strategize likeliness you get hired. And yeah, building profile. We talked about all of this before. And with that in mind, so this is things I did wrong. These are the things that you're not gonna do wrong, hopefully. So yeah. Closing. This is startup guides, pretty much like awesome stuff. At FI's Twitter, I think that's a really good one. The Black Hills Infosec YouTube, Daniel Missler, a really good resource, and Leslie Carhart again. Some people to follow if you're interested in threat intel, Red Team, threat hunting, detection engineering, macOS. Create a Twitter, please, because yeah, you never know. Like detection engineering and threat hunting, for me, it's literally looking at Twitter and then pushing it to my boss, like we should do this, and then like yeah, that's majority of the job. It's literally we have a meeting, sitting there just reviewing that thing that we suggested, and then we build it into the program that we have, the detection that we develop. There's Suns new to Cyber Summit. I think there should be one coming 2023. Besides Las Vegas Proving Ground, if you have something cool that you want to present and you're new to the field, you can actually send your thing there. PancakesCon, it's like entry-level newcomer conference. Local meetups, those are the links. Sign up for the emails so you get updates. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. We still have 8 minutes. And then these are the materials if you want to scan that. It will not take you to YouTube to Rickroll's videos, but it should be my deck. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Questions? Comments?
So I know that you do a lot of talks, and I was wondering, where do you, like, I wanted to do more myself, so where do you find, like, I would say, like, motive, or like, not so much a motivation, but what do you pick, like, especially like when you're new to the field, for things to talk about?
It's pretty much what you're doing. Like the Azure thing that I did, it's because it's my work in EY, I'm just like tools that I built inside. And then, yeah, you just kind of, it's there. All you need to do formulate, like the CFP, like call for paper. So you need to send the ideas to them, and then from there you can expand, you formalize it to like a slide deck, to like a paper. So that's one thing that you can do. Sometimes it's not, it is obvious for you, a topic or like things that you do. It's not obvious for everyone. So that's I think the beauty of like presenting in a conference. Not everyone knows everything. So it's, you never know until you send it to them actually. Yeah. Any more questions? Quiet group. Yeah.
I'll add another one for you.
Yeah.
So what's the best way that you, so I know like for example, a lot of people offer mentorships and I don't think enough people take advantage of people who are offering mentorships. Where do you think that the best way to either approach someone for a mentorship is, or where are the best places to find mentors who may be available to teach people?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be, it depends, right? Like if you're working, of course your mentor will be people, like senior to you in the organization. In school, the thing is like, sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it could be just like relation, talking with people, and you just ask them, hey, can I review my resume or something like that? That's already in the form of mentorship. It's just, what do you want to learn from them? While I work at Bell, they actually have like assigned me with a VP that will tell me their story, etc. So I think the places, it's definitely find someone that is more knowledgeable than you, and then build a relationship, and then either if you wanna like formalize it or not, it's up to you. But try to get, like learning as much as you can from them. So it can be everywhere. Like this is a good place to have like I think there's like a bunch of like technical channels in the ISSessions. So those are like places that you can start also. Yeah. Just going home. All right. Yeah, I think that's all. That's good. All right. Thank you.
All right, so thank you, Taz, for that talk, and thank you, everybody, for coming out again. Our next session, it's October 27th. That is reading week for us Sheridan students here. It's probably going to be more of a mini session, and it'll be delivered online as well. More updates to come regarding the agenda and how that's going to work soon. So hope to see you guys there. Well, air quotes on the C. Yes. I'd say timing, I plan on making it the same, just online. Yeah. Yeah, it's reading week, so I don't want to drag you guys all out here to Sheridan, especially with exams going on and everything. Just something, to give you a break from studying. But other than that, I think we're ready to call it a night. Have a good one.